Hello and welcome to another player profile and projection here on Talkin Yanks, which is brought to you by DraftKings. We got a combo episode today. Clarke Schmidt, Deivi García, two guys who throw the baseball for the Yankees. Both made their debut last year in the shortened season with no fans in the stands. Deivi obviously did more than make his debut. Clarke kind of got jicked around a little bit in his debut.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start, Jake? You want to start with Deivi or you want to start with Clarke? I think we separate them.
I want to do something I'm good at.
What's that?
Ruining people's day.
Okay.
Deivi Clarke do 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 do. Deivi Clarke do 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 do. Deivi Clarke do 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 do. Deivi Clarke. Which one do you think we should do first?
Clarke. I think it's easier.
Okay.
Clarke made his Clarke was in spring last year. If you remember, he had a very good spring. His even spring training before the pandemic hit.
Summer camp legend Clarke Schmidt.
Yeah, and then even spring training, like he was just getting like crazy hype. He's pitching in the alternate site. They finally bring him up and they have him make his debut out of the bullpen, which he wasn't used to, with runners on, first and second, in a high leverage situation. And he gives up a single and then a ground ball. I remember that being a little dicey.
Man.
And then a double. And the game goes from being Yankees up 3-2 to the Yankees losing 6-3. And it's just like, that was his debut? Why did you guys do it that way? Why not give him a clean inning? It was weird.
It was insane. I mean, it was the Yankees literally, this organization that's so buttoned up and like we beg for them to do things with more feel and blah, blah, blah. They went like full video game story mode on this. They're like, oh, what if we start Deivi and we'll finish with Clarke for his debut? And then, Jimmy, literally everything you said about his debut going back, I was just getting mentally punched in the face. Like, if you're going to bring him out of the bullpen, okay, you know, it's guys making their major league debut. A lot of starting pitchers have to make their debut out of the bullpen. I forgot about the runners on base.
Yeah.
Like, it was just unreal. This guy who was the story of spring training to summer camp, and he's got this wicked curveball. And then to have it go down like that, and it was just, oh, okay, this is bizarre. What a weird, bad debut. Unfair. And then Jimmy made his second appearance in relief after the Ottavino game.
Yes.
And he got one inning there. So
then he did get the start. The very last game of the season he started.
Yeah, I almost want to go back and watch that. 71 pitches against Miami. That series that kind of didn't matter for the Yanks at all. To see what that looked like and felt like.
Did we watch that last game of the season? Do you guys remember that? Did we just like take that off because
we like didn't even do a full series recap because it was the week you were sick.
Oh, okay.
And we were like at home.
Oh, right.
Right after that, because they did every team played at the same time, so we knew our playoff matchup, so it kind of just became our Cleveland preview.
Okay, yeah, because I barely remember it.
Yeah, he threw 71 bullets that day. Struck out 4. Yeah, man, it's and now this spring training, pitching and everything. Pitching's been on the main front this whole offseason. He gets injured. What was it? Just soreness?
It's a forearm strain.
He came out throwing too hard. He admitted that, and the veterans were like laughing about it, saying like he was trying to impress at camp, and all the veterans were like, "Nah, dude, that's not how this works."
I think the injury. I don't think the injury changes his outlook on this season. I think he was starting in AAA. The Yankees usually like guys getting a lot of starts at AAA. I mean, I think if 2020 wasn't the way it was, I think even Deivi would have went to AAA and got some starts in. He went to the alternate site. So, I think he's going to start at AAA. Do I think we'll see Clarke Schmidt at some point this year? Yes, because they're going to need a lot of pitchers. If it wasn't the pandemic season, I would be like, 80% yes, 20% no. But I think it's 100% yes, we're going to see Clarke Schmidt at some point this year. And hopefully they give him a clean inning and a nice start, and it's a little easier of a transition. But we've had Clarke on the show. He's a pretty smart kid. Definitely. This whole crop of young Yankees pitchers are like thoughtful, smart, geeky pitchers. I say that not in a mean way.
Right,
like
in an endearing way.
So, I mean, that's all I really have. So I think Deivi's the longer part of this episode. Like Clarke will start in AAA. It'll take injuries for him. Like if somehow no one gets injured, then it'd be really hard for him to get innings except in September.
Yeah.
Except in September. But there will be moments where he'll get called up and he'll start.
Yeah, the injury bug will have a big effect on him. It's going to be interesting. Starting injuries, bullpen injuries, how it all plays out, how Clarke is looking. Like we just mentioned, he had the forearm strain. It sounds like he's beginning to throw again soon as we record this, so he's really not going to be super off schedule. We'll see what goes on with the alternate training site and AAA, how those games pick up this year. And they kind of started the clock on him, which was the surprise for how they used him last year. So, I wonder if that makes him more fair game. It's going to be the call-up game is going to be interesting for the first part of this season.
Yeah.
To see kind of what the pecking order, or if they're going to burn some veteran non-roster guys. You just want to see Clarke look a little more comfortable. Again, he was put in some weird circumstances, and we can't even really remember that Marlins start. So hopefully he looks more comfortable. I'd like to see them give him, a full start, maybe a good spot start. Like he's on the 40-man, so if the Yankees need to spot start to burn a guy, wouldn't be against it being Clarke if he's the guy around.
Yeah, my last thing is, do you have any thought that Clarke will be part of the postseason in 2021?
He would have to. He's got that nasty curveball. That's what's supposed to make Clarke Schmidt special. The spin on it and all that. If he comes up and that curveball looks special and we potentially need an extra bullpen arm, I could see it. It seems like a tough path, but at the same time, this kid is supposed to have the arm talent that at least he could make us have the conversation.
If he's part of the postseason, that means something went incredibly, incredibly awesome for Clarke Schmidt, or something went incredibly, incredibly wrong with the Yankees bullpen and rotation injury-wise. I just don't think it's even part of the ask. Like, I'd love to see him get 20 innings under his belt, 30 innings under his belt this season, and, pitch a little and get a feel for it, and just being on the mound and it not being, weird or far into him, and then the next year keep going. But, no, I don't think his ask is to be special just yet, which it is down the line. It's not a knock on him. It's just...
But what about this? I guess best case, and a guy we did a PPP on, Mike King, he was the last guy on the DS roster last year. There's a world where that happens for Clarke Schmidt, right?
Yeah, but I think Mike King has him beat on it.
Right. He'd have to be better than Mike King this year, which isn't out of the realm.
No, he projects to be better than Mike King, so I think some people might be asking, what are you guys even talking about? But Mike King is more... ready.
Right.
He's at the end of his development, where I think Shmidt, with a full cycle at AAA, he supposedly and should be getting even more fine-tuned and even better.
And hey, maybe this brings us right into Deivi. Because Clarke Schmidt was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be next up. They stole the summer camp headlines. He's older than Deivi. Deivi García got the call last year and was a ton of fun. Where the numbers landed don't reflect the full story. Man, Deivi energized the team for a little bit. He gave them 6 starts, which, quick turkey math, 10% of last season. You like that? Math pod stuff.
People say they know they can't believe Jake just did math on his feet.
On my feet. He got the playoff start, if you remember. Kind of.
Don't. Come on.
That was rude.
That was rude. I really don't want to talk about that.
That was rude. So,
God damn it! I forgot. Yes. One of Randy Arozareni's victims.
Yeah, before the world knows Randy was the best ever. That makes things all more frustrating. He literally clipped Cole the next day. Anyways, Davey was fun, Jim. We recorded our normal ep of Talkin Yanks today, and we ended up talking about Davey, and some of the little stuff still makes you laugh. He was wearing the 45 Pedro belt. We talked about how one of his starts he only threw fastballs in the first time through the order, and it's like, come on, man. Like, you're good, and I believe in you, but like it's a 2-time through the order league right now. Why don't you can mix it up a little bit.
I like the gumption and the makeup of him, and he's definitely got moxie, and he hides the ball, and he's got a little swagger on the mound. But yeah, the pitch mix it was all fastballs. It was 60% fastballs last year. Then it was changeup, curve, slider. The slider he only threw to righties. He didn't throw to lefties. And when he threw the slider to righties, it was very interesting, Jake. Like it was either they swung and missed, or they got a hit. Like when it got hit, it had a 500 batting average, but it also had a 40% whiff rate, which is his most biggest thing. It's also like spin rate wise, like his slider has 2,500 revolutions or whatever the hell the end of that phrasing is, and his curveball is really tight too. It's 2,700 revolutions. Like his curveball should be his pitch, but the changeup he threw more than the curve last year. He needs to figure out his mix still. It still needs to like put all of that together. You think he breaks camp?
Do I think he breaks camp with the Yankees? Let's see. By the way, he's still 21 as we record this. He turns 22 in May.
And doesn't have a lot of innings at AA or AAA.
And everything you said makes sense about like still learning to pitch and being young. And I think, as we see him this year, we hope for the evolution. I don't think so. I'm assuming the Yankees can do some service time stuff, and like we've started to reference, if there's a big old pie of 800 innings pitched this year, Davey's probably 75 to 100 of those innings. Is that high? Is that low? 50 to 100? Depending how this year breaks injury-wise and a lot of other things.
Say 50 innings?
I said 50 to 100. He pitched 34 last year.
Well, that's a big range. Yeah. I think he's going to get innings. Like even so, where I said
I said 75 to 100, and you kind of gave me a squiggly face, so I brought it back a little bit.
Okay.
So I don't know.
There's going to be injuries, and there's going to be a 6-man rotation. What's their plan with Chassin? Deivi. So here's where I'm different on Deivi and Clarke. I don't think Deivi needs injuries to get in the mix.
Okay.
I think eventually they'll just find days to give Deivi the ball, or when there's a 6-man option to call someone up and get a pitch, I think it's like his time to shine. I also think Deivi can play as a bulk guy. Like, they did it to him in the playoffs, but he would be the hap in that situation where, like, if Sevy comes back, maybe it's Sevy and Deivi piggyback days. Ooh. And maybe that's the combination there. I think he's going to be part of it, and they'll figure out a way to get him innings, injuries or not. That's where I kind of differ on Clarke. And I also think Deivi will be part of the postseason plan. Okay. I don't know how. I think the plan is to figure out how does Deivi fit into our postseason plan when they start turning the corner into fall. Where Clarke, I don't think that's the thought process right now at all. Like, let's just let him develop.
I guess the more you talk about it, there is a wild card factor with Deivi García more than there is with Clarke. Like, there's a world where Deivi García gets a postseason start. Hell, he half was supposed to last year.
He technically did.
You're an injury or two away, plus performance away. Like, Deivi has talent. He can be good. He can be like a spark plug, too. So, it's going to be interesting to watch. I'd assume they're going to do some service time funny business, and they'd rather burn through some other arms, and they could play the AAA card if they really wanted to, and, teams do that dance anyways. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to be in the mix. And by the time this episode comes out with an injury, Deivi could very much be in the mix. So... yeah, he'll be a big part of this season. You do wonder if there is that bullpen role, like I just mentioned Mike King making last year's NLDS roster. In theory, if everyone's healthy, that role could be Deivi instead, if the other veteran starters are still healthy. So, yeah, Davey's going to throw innings for this team. You just want to see progress. Whether it's pitch mix or,
I'm interested to see his second time through the league in a way, because second time through the order they're already getting him. And he needs to, the fastball, he hides it well. You see him hide it behind his leg and stuff. But, what is it, sit 92? Yeah, it sits 92 miles per hour, which, in this league, you got to be able to be able to place that perfectly. And if usually when you have a fastball that sits 92, that's kind of like Jay Happ. Usually, or Tanaka, it's not your premier pitch.
Yeah.
But for him, he threw it 60% of the time. So, I don't believe in that formula. So, if Deivi goes out next year and he's like, yep, I'm going to throw my fastball 60% of the time and change it up after that, I don't believe in that. I believe in Deivi, but I think he has to mix the pitch mix up a lot. He can't just throw that fastball 92 miles per hour 60% of the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and we should see those percentages start to change. Now that I'm going back in my head and thinking of some of the Deivi starts, you could see it on days that he had the curveball, days he had the slider, days he didn't have one of them. So, I think it's kind of the maturation of a pitcher that Deivi knows what he's going to get from his fastball right now. Mm-hmm. The off-speed stuff, the different days we didn't know. So maybe he relied on that, and he still had decent success because it is a deceptive fastball. We had a really good KT Sharp episode on that. I'm stoked to see Deivi. I think when whatever point he joins the team this season, I'll be excited to see him on the mound because he's
it's fun to watch. Got Moxie. First newspaper you ever bought.
First newspaper I ever bought was because Deivi García was on it. So gonna be excited when he joins up with the boys, and yeah, it's really gonna be interesting, man, to see if he is the bonus starter on a doubleheader day, if they work that in a couple times. Part of me feels like when Deivi joins the team, he's gonna find a way.
Well, he can be versatile.
He can be good.
Yeah.
In a lot of different roles.
What color do you think his hair? Is his hair back to? Is it still blue?
Been blue? Is it blue at camp?
I don't think it's blue at camp.
I don't think so. We'd be talking about.
He got touched up by the Phillies, but I was working that day, so I didn't see a lot of it. So I don't know what happened. But by the time this gets released, he's pitched a lot more.
Man, he was really good in his press conferences and everything too. He was a blast.
Yeah. No, he was.
Give me more Deivi.
Give him more Deivi. He really likes Dave. Did you do Justin Bieber with Deivi? Deivi. Oh. Did you do that last year?
For a few. Glaby kind of had that.
Yeah, Glaby has that.
Notice the other thing that surprised us last year, Jim?
Yeah? No.
He
Maybe.
threw a lot of bullets, dude. 3 of his starts were 95-plus pitches.
They let him go. They built him up.
Let him go, which was wild because they pretty much didn't do that. They only did that with Cole and him.
Why is that?
I don't know, man. They treated the young guys kind of weird last year. I wonder if Deivi was peacocking too much.
How many pitches did Happ throw? Because Happ started 9 games.
There was that one start they refused to take Happ out. Do you remember that?
Well, it was the second. Sorry, walked 6 batters.
No. It was a good Happ start.
Oh, yeah.
It was after one of his pissy rants, and they were just like, all right.
Yeah. We were joking that they were going to let Happ do whatever he wanted, no matter what, and then he pitched really well. He had 10 strikeouts against Toronto.
Yeah, he had 2 113 pitch games. All right, J Happ.
Happ threw 787 pitches.
How about it? Like the plane?
No.
Okay.
Not even close, dude. Max's predictions?
Max's prediction.
And then do we even want to look at baseball reference for these guys?
It was on there. You can check it out.
So he has both of them are based on number of starts. So Clarke, he put the over/under on 5.5 starts. Deivi
under.
Deivi is 22.5 starts.
Under.
Both of those are big boy numbers.
Taking the under in the.
How about I'll go under on Deivi, over on Clarke?
Okay.
Deivi got 6 starts last year in the short season.
Yeah. Someone's going to get hurt, I guess.
Someone's going to get hurt.
If anything, I'd go over on Clarke, which I think helps out the under on Deivi. That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
I'll team up with you.
22 major league starts for Deivi next year.
He's a starting pitcher.
That basically mean the whole time he's a starter.
That's a season.
Yeah, it depends on if he breaks camp. I think you're very close to that over. If he breaks camp, it's up to him.
But what's his most starts
ever in the history of life?
Yeah.
Let's see. In 16, he had 12. In 17, he had
19. He had 21 starts.
So that'd be his most ever in a season.
He's young. Let the kid pitch.
If he breaks camp with the team, I think
get out of the analytics room, crazy old guy.
You're too old to be so smart.
What you talking about?
That's what the analytics room used to be. I say, why not throw him out there? Okay, Bill.
Bill, on the sauce again.
I'm trying to play the outro music, but my computer's doing Spinning Wheel of Death. So maybe we just... Oh, wait. It just ended, and okay. How about that? Deivi and Clarke, leave a comment below and let us know what you think. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review, and go kill yourself. I was talking to myself at the end. That came out. I was talking to myself for saying all that. Telling myself to kill myself.
Jimmy was telling himself.
It was very clear in my head because I knew my intent.
Happens to all of us.
21.